Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So 65-year-old Pennsylvania resident Terry Allen attended several D.C. protests to support Donald Trump. So this was prior to the Capitol attack. During the Million MAGA March, which you might remember that took place in December of 2020, Allen was recorded saying that he was there to, quote, kick some ass and take some names. And the prosecutor says he's a member of a group called the Salt and Light Brigade. They said it's an offshoot of the far-right group called Pass the Salt. I think it's Pass the Salt Ministry, or maybe it's just the Salt Ministry. Anyway, I may have written that down wrong. But anyway, they apparently emphasize support to encourage political confrontation using military rhetoric, according to the FBI. And so on January 6th, Allen was seen on the Capitol grounds. He was involved in a scuffle near the inauguration scaffolding. He was then seen moving the barricades, and he was passing them back to Trump's mob. From there, he moved to another location. He was seen joining in a brief fight between the mob and officers. But the investigators said based on the video evidence that they have, they couldn't tell exactly what he did in that fight. So they're not sure if he committed assault. However, a couple minutes after that, he was seen talking with officers and, quote unquote, aggressively gesturing toward the Capitol. Well, another scuffle broke out. And at that point, Allen shoved two officers before he was pushed back into the mob. And according to the government sentencing memo, the court found that Allen made jabbing motions at the police with a flagpole that he was carrying. And he was seen turning the flagpole after that sideways, and he was using the end of it to try to take objects that were lying near the officer's feet. They said one was a police radio, and then the other was a quote-unquote black object of similar size. After that, Allen was seen changing the position of his flag again, and then he used it to, again, repeatedly jab at the lower torsos of officers. So with the help of Metropolitan Police Department officers that had just arrived, you might remember they came as backup to the Capitol Police, they were able to help to force the mob back and establish a new line of barricades. So Allen was seen approaching that newly formed line with his flagpole and also what appeared to be a metal bar. It looked like a metal bar that he had taken from the police barricades. So another fight broke out between Trump's terrorists and the police, and Allen turned his flagpole and the metal bar sideways again. So they were parallel now to the ground. Officers then deployed pepper spray into the mob, and Allen was seen at that point. He turned away from the pepper spray, and he, at the same time, pulled his arm back, then turned back towards the police, and then he launched the black metal bar at the police. He chucked it at them like a spear. So video evidence shows that that black metal bar hit at least one officer. So again, Allen retreated back into the mob. So he was arrested on July 6th of 2023, and he was charged with civil disorder, 2 counts of assaulting officers with a dangerous weapon, entering a restricted building or grounds with a dangerous weapon, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, one of which included the dangerous weapon enhancement, and 2 counts of physical violence, one of which also included the dangerous weapon enhancement. And check this out. When Allen was arrested, they found 19 guns, M-class fireworks, gunpowder, and they said between 10 and 20,000 rounds of ammunition. One of the weapons was an AR-15, and it has an image of Trump on it. He's wearing an 18th century military officer's uniform, and it's surrounded by the text that says, 45th President Donald J. Trump 1776 reborn, January 20th, 2017. But it's not a cult, you guys. And yeah, let's put Trump on a weapon in an officer's uniform. You know, the draft dodger, the guy who calls veterans suckers and losers. That guy. The only military members who are suckers and losers are the ones who support Trump, the ones who fell for his election fraud fantasies and actually still support him. Anyway, you won't be surprised to hear this guy has a history of violence against the police. So in 1983, an officer tried to arrest Allen for public drunkenness. So Allen wrestled the officer to the ground, gets on top of him, starts choking the officer with both hands, and then he repeatedly slammed the officer's head into the concrete. A year later, 1984, Allen was charged with aggravated assault, and he ended up pleading guilty to simple assault. That case was ultimately adjudicated along with another charge for drunk driving. And so they gave him a combined plea deal for both of those in 1985. So in regard to the January 6th case, Allen refused a plea deal. He opted for a bench trial. And in September of 2024, the judge found Allen guilty on all counts with the exception of one assault charge. So he faced up to decades in prison on probation as well, decades of probation, well over $1 million in fines. The government, however, requested a sentence of only 70 months in prison, 70, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. Allen asked the court to delay his sentencing, though, because he is certain that Donald Trump is going to pardon him and all of the January 6 convicts. U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta presided over Allen's case, and he said, no. How about no, Scott? Anyway, in the end, he sentenced Allen to only 2 years in prison, 2 years of probation, and $1,000 in restitution. Obviously, nowhere near enough, especially for someone this violent. But Mehta, he tends to be pretty weak. He's another weak Obama appointee, with rare exception. I would say I have never to rarely been impressed by the sentences that he imposes. Anyway, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.